Hey, twisted people. It's your twisted girl here, Chauncey K. Robinson, and I'm joined by my mother, Karen Robinson, aka Twisted Mama. She's Twisted Mama, y'all. She is the lady who made it possible because she made me possible. Oh, I think you can unmute if you're not unmuted. Unmute. Uh, so yeah, thank you all for joining us because it has been a journey. We are talking evil. Season 2, season finale. Things happened. Some questions were answered, not all of them, only some, maybe only one, if we're really honest about it. Maybe two questions I had were sort of answered. And so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Evil season 2 finale. I'm pretty sure that it's gotten renewed for season 3 because I think Robert King, one of the creators and writers he's basically half of the married duo that created this great series, basically said, stay tuned for season 3. We got a lot more in store. And hopefully a lot more of that is more specific things because, it was vague. It was quite vague, some stuff that was happening. So, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about our feelings. And I think it might actually be a mixed bag in terms of, how people might feel about this. So this is what we want to dive into. And as always, it is so great to, be joined by all of you in the live chat and those of you who are in the replay. Felix with the hand sign. Hi, Felix. Zen with the hello. And Zen also saying, yeah, they were stingy with the answers, and they were. Although we did get some clear stuff with some of it, which was good. And I get it. It's season 2, and I think sometimes we're so used to shows where they just kind of throw everything in the kitchen sink at us at the end of a season finale to the point where we're almost kind of like, wow, how are you going to be able to top that? And sometimes shows don't because they kind of showed their hand with everything with the end of a season or whatever. So it seems like I feel like they have a story they want to tell, and maybe because I've seen what these writers can do, I think they do kind of have an idea where they're going with things. And because of that, it's not as everything's out here because we're not sure about the next season and where we want to go, and we just have one big idea. So it's very clear they have ideas of what they want to do, but I didn't think it was necessarily as clear as it could have been. And although when the credits came up, I can honestly say I'm not sure I felt like it was a season finale, except for like maybe one or two things that I was like, okay, that's a season finale. But then I was like, that's a season finale? I don't know. Yeah. It was a cliffhanger, though. There was a cliffhanger in certain regards. So y'all, what I want to ask you all, as we talk about it, as me and my mama talk about it, if you could give this episode a grade, what would it be? And why would that grade be exactly? And lady, I'm going to let you answer. What grade would you give the season finale of season 2?
I gave it an A-.
A-. Okay, so why the minus?
The minus was because they didn't go in quite some details. They just, they answered, like you said, they did answer, like he said, they did answer some questions that was put to that they was going through especially about Christian mother. Now we know why, what happened with her. But I gave it an A- because it didn't quite end the way I was expecting it to end.
Okay.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good and everything. And here I was thinking, like when they was in the what's name and they was coming out of the thing when they was in that laboratory. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, this is good now. Okay. And then with the girl, I said, for real. Like I said, I gave it an A- because of that. I gave it because it was good, but it didn't quite do the great cliffhanger. Okay. You can't wait till like next, when it's come back on again. But anyway,
yeah, for sure. I can see that. Zen was saying in the chat, I suspected that they would make us wait for the next season. Yeah. I could definitely see that. And that's what it, and isn't that what a good show does? It makes you want to come back. It leaves something. Some shows, they have a tendency to tie things up in a neat little bow at the end of every season. And sometimes that's fine because okay, this chapter is ended. We know another thing's going to start. Because sometimes you think the characters need a little bit of a break. In this one, it was more like, no, things are still moving. Buckle up. It's only getting more intense. Now, my grade, I'm gonna be honest, my grade was a B minus. Yeah, my grade was a B minus for a number of reasons. I'll talk about that in a second, but let's see what some of you are saying. Zen also gave it a B minus, like mine, Zen. B minus because David took his vows and made out with Kristen. What the F was that? I'm happy Sister Andrea was not killed, but now David is in more danger now that he is ordained. Like, why? Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Promethean, thanks for joining us. Promethean Flame in the chat. Always a pleasure. Yeah. So, I also gave it a B minus for a number of reasons. And, then we'll kind of take it piece by piece as we go through it. I wanted some more answers for things that just were a little bit vague. I didn't need everything laid out for me. I was quite happy that they had Sister Andrea talk about what that map was. Now, it was a little weird because our three heroes had been introduced to that map early on before, and it kind of fell off in terms of them kind of pursuing it. And it was something they had, but they didn't really pursue it. And then for Sister Andrea, be like, oh, those are the 60 sigils of the demons. And basically, they have to have an heir before they're able to pass on. And the heir has to consume the demon in order to take on. Now, she didn't really go into what exactly they're trying to achieve necessarily, but that's the thing with the demon. So it was nice. I needed that moment. I consider myself a smart person, but I did need that moment where someone sat down and said, what is this? What's going on with this thing? So that was fine. Do I think it needed to come at the end of the season? I would have been fine at it came a couple of episodes before, simply because I would have had a better understanding of what the heck was going on with Cheryl, and the whole thing with the mom. Another aspect that I wasn't exactly fond of is this thing with Ben's girlfriend, or maybe it's ex-girlfriend. Maybe that was the end of their story. Here. Maybe he broke up with her, when maybe we should have taken it as him just saying, I'm out of here, aka I'm breaking up with you, as the end of their relationship. If that's the case, then I think that was a little weird for him to just kind of allow that to kind of just fall off the map, because he did say that same episode that he thought he was falling for her. So to go from that to, okay, this is too much, I'm out, is a little weird, and to never revisit it. So it was kind of weird to me that we never revisit it. And it was 4 episodes after and not one kind of mention to it. Right. Mm-hmm. I loved the whole thing about the morgue, because the whole thing with that guy kind of came out to him wanting to be devoured by, it was weird. It was a weird thing, because the dead body was the demon that wanted to be devoured. What this demon was, who knows, but it was weird. And I also like that we got a little bit more of what David's visions are about. I love that Sister Andrea has become, a mentor to him, because I wasn't sure, right? I think we got our answers about Sister Andrea, and I was happy about that she wasn't just some, kooky lady who was just saying that she was seeing stuff, and she wasn't. She actually was really seeing things just as David was. But I do feel like overall, certain things were introduced that came out of nowhere. And I don't know if it's always good to introduce things in the season finale when we have to wait a whole probably some months to a year. Although I did see on Twitter that they're supposed to start filming season 3 in November. So we know that they're filming, which is great. Knock on wood, hope it goes well. But it was kind of like they introduced the thing of Leland saying daffodil to the daughter. And it was like, okay, so he's been kind of talking to her this whole time. Cool. And now, is she supposed to be his heir? Is Leland trying to get her to be his heir, or the heir of someone else? Is Leland a demon himself? Because I don't know. Did we establish that Leland was a demon?
Well, he
Not
did.
sure.
Well, look, he cut off the sheep head and drank his blood.
Yeah, but that was kind of like, I'm tired of this guy and I'm gonna, like, who's management? It was just, there's a lot of things that were left up in the air that I was just like, okay, I was expecting a few more answers for this. And I felt like it's so weird that Kristen and Cheryl are a mother and daughter duo and they never seem to really talk. Like, they have yet to have a one-on-one scene since, like, I feel like season 1 to have a conversation about what's going on with each other. And that, to me, is a bit not truthful or authentic, given that they live in the same house, technically, What do you think, lady? What do you think about some of the things I said?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you on that and everything, especially about how can you not want to talk to your mother, especially when that situation when your daughter, Papa, you didn't want to go to your mother or whatever and to ask her what's going on here. I asked you not to let my kids see this man, but this man been coming towards, near the school.
Yeah, talking to Lexi. And it's like, why wouldn't she talk to her mom? I get why she went to David, because she had got to a point where she was about to kill again. But it was like, this is your mom's ex, and she still seems to be hanging out with him, even if she's not with him. So maybe you should talk to her, and maybe y'all can finally have a conversation. And once again, we never, even with this stuff with Cheryl, we never really got an explanation of why she chose this route. Why is she okay with being a demon heir? Like, when is she going to have a chance? When is Cheryl going to have a chance to explain this to Kristen or somebody so we know why she went this route? Because we got no, like, inkling that she was that type of person to be okay with that sort of thing, Let's see what some of you all are saying in chat. Felix is saying B- in terms of grade. Would have been less, but Leland got threatened down there. Yeah.
She cut it off.
Yeah. Promethean Flame is saying, I understand your grade. I didn't care for the way they went about allowing David and Kristen to be intimate after Kristen admitted to murder. She was vulnerable. She was. And yeah, Ben's lady suddenly disappeared. Zero resolution to that mystery. Yeah, exactly. Zen is saying she was vulnerable. She admitted to murder. He's a former sex addict who was just ordained. It was a messy situation all around. Oh, and Christian has a husband and 4 kids. It's a very messy situation.
I know he's when they said about the sex addict, I said,
well, he did mention that. That was mentioned, I think, in season 1 that he had got checked in for sex addiction. So that was a thing. Although he's, like he was explaining to his ex, his sister's sister. His ex-wife's sister, Renee Elise Goldberry. Always wonderful to see her on screen.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, she was saying, he was like, no, I haven't had a problem with the sex addiction since then or whatever like that. So, and that temptation, if that's something, addiction isn't something that just goes away. It's something you manage. It's its own kind of problem. So it never really completely goes away. But I think they both were vulnerable in some regards, right? Especially given the day that he had, where he was, we'll talk about that in a second. Zen is saying, I was annoyed that Ben's girlfriend was not referenced at all in this episode. Exactly. It's just weird the way that this kind of went the way it did. Promethean is saying, I agree that the lack of communication among characters is weird. It only serves to create conflict or delay relative knowledge exchange. Exactly. Yeah, just, it's just kind of, there's a lot going on there. So let's take it bit by bit, right? With each character. Okay, so I guess first let's talk about the one tidbit we have is that her therapist, Kristen's therapist, is taking a break. Rightfully so. I think he has been through a lot through Kristen.
Yes.
And I think although he cares about her, he deserves a break. Kristen didn't seem happy that he was taking a break, but I'm kind of happy for him that he's taking a break. And I also thought it was funny that he went to Sister Andrea and was like, I saw something and I need to talk to someone who won't laugh at me. And the intense conversation they had. Sister Andrea is a true and through believer. So of course she's like, you need to go over to that priest right now and repent, because that demon's gonna drag you. and stuff. And I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with the therapist. I like that that's hopefully he won't be off screen. Maybe this with him taking time off and writing his book, he might be around a little bit more, like around the church or something like that, trying to, or maybe bump into them and things. But I definitely think he deserves a break. I really like the character. So once again, I was just happy they did not make him an evil character. What do you think, lady?
Which one?
On him taking a break.
Yeah, I'm glad they did, because that's when I was going to put him in the category that he's up to something.
Well, all of y'all many of y'all, you and one of our regular viewers here, Sabetti, were saying, oh, it's, he might be, or was it Josh?
But you know what? It's going to be a shocker if they brought him back and he was up to something.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I mean,
that would be the best, you would say, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Exactly. I mean, this is the thing. It may come back around. We don't know. Why did the demon reveal itself to him out of everybody? It didn't reveal itself to Ben. It didn't reveal itself to Kristen. It revealed itself to him. Why is that exactly? Wasn't Sister Andrea correct in saying, hey, if you don't do something, this demon's going to drag you down? That may be the case. So I think it'll be interesting. Zen is saying he needs a break, and I think he may become a believer. He may, and that'll be very interesting where that goes, for sure. But I like that they've set something up for this character for sure. So that was just a little tidbit because his was kind of the smaller thing. And then we had what kind of connected everything, because I kind of want to talk about David's situation last in the sense of like his faith and stuff like that. But we had the situation of going on where through this case they got of the college guy basically feeling like he was
a cannibal.
It seemed like at first it was starting with cannibalism, which was cool, but then it quickly turned into consuming your demon, an heir consuming the demon they're supposed to inherit their stuff from. So that was a turn, and I wasn't expecting that. I liked it. I liked that it eventually or conveniently connected into what's happening with Cheryl. And I think in a way it kind of explained Cheryl's situation too, because although we didn't see Cheryl actually eat anybody, this is, and you and I were talking about it before we started airing, Ma, was that her taking the intravenous, like the transfusion with Edward, might have been her way of consuming him slowly but surely. That was her way of becoming his heir. I think that was an aspect of it. Now, the confusion with that, though, because I want to take Cheryl and the situation, the confusion with me on that, though, and maybe you all were confused as well, is that if that was what was going on with Cheryl, what was with the doctor, the one who was connected to Christian's eggs? Another situation we never
she's dealt with. So what happened to her?
Well, yeah, what happened to her? She was in the closet too when Leland went to go get the jar originally, that first episode where Cheryl was getting the transfusion. Where did she go? And was she also taking it in for, or wasn't
she still laying on the table when
she
Cheryl
was? Yeah, she was still laying on the table. So I'm like, well, what's going on with Cheryl? But was that the same thing with the doctor? Was the doctor getting a transfusion too, or was the doctor just like under some type of control and that was a whole separate thing? There are things that got explained, but then it kind of left, I don't want to say a plot hole, because I do think they've thought this through. I just think they're not showing their hand, and that's a little bit frustrating, because it's like, okay, I get it. I feel like what I got was that Cheryl was consuming Edward through the blood transfusion or whatever was coming out of his veins going into her. Let me know if y'all think that was the same thing, because we didn't actually see her eat Edward, but it's very clear that he said, my heir, So I think that's what was happening. She was taking in his fluids, and that was her way of consuming him. Do you agree with that theory, Mom?
Yeah, I agree with that. But remember near the it's always like if she do something for Leland, he had to do something for her.
Well, the whole thing was what she wanted from Leland was, and Leland said, access to Edward. So that's what
Mhm.
she wanted from Leland. She wanted access to Edward, and she got access to Edward. And Edward gave her his great great grandfather's head, which was saying, "Now it's you because you're my heir." So I mean, that was what we got. But the question is, what happened with the doctor that originally had taken Kristen's eggs? Because she was
That's
in that
true.
closet too
So
that day, and I don't know what
did
happened
they
with her.
kill her? Or is she there? Or she just in a state of sun?
Yeah. And so what we also got, so we got kind of an answer for that through this case that they were on, because what we see is that body that the guy was so tempted to consume was literally, I guess, this demon that was calling to him to consume him, which, you know, it's a little interesting because, you know, what some of us were saying in the last live stream was that Cheryl was going through a trial and tribulation to be Edward's heir, right? Like he was saying daffodil, and she had to do what he
Do
said, and that
something,
was his
yeah.
way of, you know, prove that we kind of surmise that was his way of making her prove herself to him. But the thing that, and if that's what people who are going to be heirs to the demon have to do, it's a little confusing because the guy that consumed the dead body, that the young man that we were introduced to, he didn't do any of that. All he had was some dead body calling to him, telling him to consume him. You know what I mean? So it's like, is it different for different demons? Like some demons just call to someone immediately, and some demons make some of them go through trials and tribulations, you know?
Mm.
It seemed a little uneven, but maybe they'll explain that more in season 3. But I thought that was a cool kind of twist to the whole cannibal thing. I also thought it was cool that David saw what looked like a demon vampire beast that turned out to be real through Sister Andrea. So we got that too. And of course, Ben and Kristen did not see it because the skeptics, of course, are not going to see it. Bobby, who is in the live chat with us. Hi, Bobby. Bobby is saying, I give it a B+. Some of it was very silly. I still want to know what Cheryl knows. What is Leland's plan for Lexus? I'm also annoyed with what happened between David and Kristen. I think that is very much a go-to. I think many people are feeling that way when it comes to David and Kristen. I'm 50-50 on it. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I totally agree with you on that. And Bobby is also saying, I agree that dropping Ben's story is crazy. Too many unanswered questions. We do not know what is real versus hallucination. And that's the thing. And we talked about this before, right? In other previous live streams, for those who have watched those, where it's like, partly we love the idea that it keeps it vague. I do sometimes, that there's a debate, like, was that real? Was that faith? Was that science? And then other times it's like, okay, y'all got to make a choice. Y'all got to make it so whether this is real or not, because you can't keep this so vague. I feel like the only things that we know are very much overtly supernatural is Leland's situation because of the goat guy and everything. And we know that now we've also gotten confirmation that because this was also a question, that David's visions, we had that question on whether or not David's visions were real or not. And I think now we know through Sister Andrea having the same vision that it was real. So David is the real deal. David does definitely have visions, and he's definitely what can be deemed as a chosen one. And we'll get to what that means and what what some of his choices might affect. But yeah, what did you think? It was kind of a mission that ended up kind of playing into the bigger picture, Ma. So what did you think of the demon? I thought that was probably the scariest part of the episode, with the demon chasing David. I love that part. I was like, this show is so good at creating horror atmosphere. And some horror shows aren't good at that. Some horror shows, they have a horror aspect to it, but they don't keep with the scares where you could actually jump in an episode. And this show consistently has creepy stuff in it that consistently, there is at least one thing in each episode that's like, okay, I'm creeped out or I'm scared, kind of a deal. What did you think?
Especially when I thought it was an egg. I said, damn, look at
Yeah,
that.
it looked like an egg at first.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
what is
said, what
that?
is that? Where did the egg come from? And then when he was stepping so slowly, and then when he made that noise and
Mm-hmm.
the thing opened up, I said,
That was creepy.
yes, when it opened, I said, now that got me. I was even screaming at her, you better get I said, run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when he started running, I said, oh my God.
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was, given that it's a season finale and we didn't know what was going on, I was like, is David about to get abducted? And maybe he starts having this like urge for eating people or something like that. And it was really exciting for them. And that's like you said earlier, like you kind of felt like, okay, now we're getting things going. What's going on with this thing? But that to me was like the scariest moment of the episode. So
That
I
was
really
the
did.
best. That to me, that was the best moment because I'm trying to figure out. Okay, now David shut the how the hell he got through that door? And then when he went up top, and then he still run. I said, "Oh, what the hell?" He jumping over the. I said, but this is why I said, "How the hell y'all don't see something?" Now the man ain't running for nothing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, even
exactly.
try to say, "Well, what you running at?" I mean, what was chasing you? They didn't even try to go see.
Yeah,
What
and that was why it was so funny because then Ben comes in like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
It was like
Are you
neither of
for
them
real?
saw anything. And Zen is saying in the chat, I also want to know what Cheryl knows and why she has chosen this path. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. And, so it definitely connected to it. But I loved it. I really did enjoy the whole thing with the demon, although it was kind of, I was a little confused as to why the demon was seemingly eating on the body of the thing that the guy had to eat on. Was that just, actually, no, I just answered my own question because Sister Andrea actually answered that question for David. She told him that was your vision. That wasn't exactly happening right then and there, but that was telling you that something was going on with that body. That was your vision come to life. And as you get closer to what your purpose is, your visions can actually start to hurt you. And of course, that freaked out David. And we'll talk about
He
that.
said, get hurt. He said,
Yeah.
hurt me. And when she showed her,
yeah.
I said, wow.
So, then we had the thing with Kristen and Lexi. In a way, it's been interesting watching Lexi's storyline kind of play in the background because we do know that she is a product of the RMS fertility, which is by these 60 demon people, clearly, and they're doing something to the eggs, and she's got the fangs, and she's kind of going through trying to accept herself, but she's also been talking to Leland, and that's what we find out, that she's been talking to Leland. Leland dropped the thing Daffodil. Now, the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, is Leland doing the same thing to Lexi that Edward was doing to Cheryl? And like, kind of preparing her to also take her place or something. Well,
yeah, but then now I think when he dropped the paper and she looked at it and said, definitely, what does this mean? I mean, I thought he's supposed to say it. I mean, remember when they did it with Cheryl, he said the word.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessary that they had to
I don't know if you had, when you saw it, did you read it, then got to, but then she saw it, so she did, because when the mother went out, she went towards that book.
And that was the thing too. Where did that book come from?
Yes.
Who gave them the book? I mean, I liked it, but I was like, okay, this is full circle moment, I guess. But it also had like Lexi reading it, and I'm like, okay, is this meta? Has she been the one reading the book the whole time? Like, whose book is this?
Well, wait a minute, and your sisters don't notice that you got a book in your hand that they probably never seen before. Where you get that book? Any other time I'd be trying to,
Yeah, it was just a little convenient, and I didn't understand it because it was like Lexi's reading this book of all their journeys.
Yeah, but then you got to the end, you saw, okay, what Chris, her thing was in the book too. The scalp, the thing that she killed the guy with, it was there too. I'm trying, okay, what that have to do with? You saw like it was like a circle of, weapons or whatever.
Weird. It was like, where does, this is the thing. This was the frustration. I think this is what some of y'all out there have been saying. We got like 2 answers of things, and then we got a whole bunch of new questions. Like that's what it felt like. It was like
at the book, and then
and it's trying to somehow get Lexi to inherit a demon sigil. Like, what's going on here?
Mm.
You know, Sabeti is joining us in the chat. Hi, Sabeti. No worries, you know, fashionably late, as they say. No worries. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. Lexi's plot line is interesting because I do think it's a slow burn. I think Lexi's plot line is a slow burn for sure. But I don't understand where it's going and what Leland is using her for or trying to use her for, you know, or maybe Leland is just trying to influence all the kids who are RMS kids, right? Trying to kind of keep a whisper to their ear. Felix is giving a little bit of tidbit info. Felix saying Cheryl had the book a few episodes ago and put it on the shelf there. That's right. She did. You are right. You are right, Felix. She did do that. And even then, I didn't pay much attention to it because I was like, okay, why does she have the book? I didn't get it. I was like, whose book is this? Who's been making this book? How do they all know what they're getting from the book? Is someone telling the future? It was just very weird, but we didn't get any answer for it. And to me, that was my issue. I was like, where's the answer for you? They introduced a lot of things and we only got like 2 answers. The 2 answers I got was David's visions are actually real. So that cures the whole thing that we were all wondering whether or not he was just hallucinating. And Sister Andrea is basically the real deal. Those are the only 2 concrete answers I got from this season finale, and a little bit more into the process of what's going on with Cheryl, but not the why. We got the what with Cheryl, but we didn't get the why with Cheryl, and I think that's an issue. But yeah, Lexi's story is interesting. And she seems still very innocent. She's even telling her mom, "I didn't do anything." Like, he talked to me, he seemed a little lonely, but I didn't do anything. But it was creepy because to Kristen's mind, Leland is a depraved man. So who knows what he could be trying to pull, although it did seem weird to me that she did not talk to her mom. But what we did get was Cheryl at the party with Leland turning around to him and saying, if I do this, you stay away from my grandchildren or I'll cut off your dick. And it was like, so was she aware that Leland was trying to, get at
That's what I was thinking about,
get at Lexi? Once again, Cheryl is holding a lot of info. She knows a lot of things, and we have yet to have a true conversation with her. All we've been seeing is what Cheryl has been doing. We have not gotten the why Cheryl is doing it or the things that she knows. And I think that is the problem there.
Okay, see, now that's the part that got me too. Now, when they gave a party for David, where the hell?
I kind of love that.
Wait,
I love that.
Where those people come from?
We'll talk about it. Yes. Let's talk about the party. I actually really enjoyed that because, as we were just talking about the lack of communication between some of the characters, I kind of love that everyone was in the same room for once. Yeah, there were some other people we had never seen before, but you could just say that those were David's friends or something from the church. So cool. But then you have people who had never gotten a chance to talk to each other. And I love when shows do that, because sometimes shows have characters who are so connected to each other, yet none of them are ever in the same room. And so I kind of liked that for the season finale, we got a lot of them in the same room and kind of got to see their dynamic with each other. So did you not like that? Or did you think it was like, where is this coming from?
Oh, well, yeah, I liked it. But then what got me is how, like, I thought they wasn't going to go pursue that with Linwood or whatever, in the Leonard, whatever, about being a consultant with them about when they're on those things.
Well, okay, we didn't talk about that. We're talking about the party.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the party, but
is Cheryl bringing it up?
Yeah, well, Cheryl saying, well, they'll get to like each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, for real? I mean, how can you make this man part of their team?
He clearly is giving money and stuff, and money talks in a lot of these organizations. Sabeti is saying, do you think Cheryl could be like a double agent? What do you think, lady? Do you think Cheryl's a double agent, like she's playing both sides?
I'm out on that. I got to think on that. No, well, so far I just been seeing the other side. I haven't seen nothing good. The only thing good was when she told him just stay away from my grandkids.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that, because it's kind of like to answer Sabetti's question, I don't know if she's a double agent. I don't even think she's that torn up about what she's doing, to be honest. There seems to be no conflict that she's inheriting a demon throne. Like, and that's my weirdness about it. It's like, why is she so like gung-ho about this? We've seen no kind of, I'm not really into this, I don't really want to do this, but I'm kind of being drawn in. We've gotten no kind of conflict with that. So that's been weird for me. And that's why I want to have some kind of talk that Cheryl gives to somebody to kind of explain why she does it. Now, in terms of double agent, I think the only way to make it so that Cheryl would probably turn on the path she's taken, or turn against the path that she's taken, is her family. And she said this before. She told Leland when they first started dating, my family is everything to me.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that if she felt like Leland was crossing boundaries and things with her grandchildren, more so Lexi, whatever he's trying to get out of Lexi, I do think that might make it so she starts working for the other side. So I don't think Cheryl's a complete lost cause, but she doesn't seem torn up morally, more so. And I think her only Achilles heel is her grandchildren. But I don't really understand, because she never explains, like, stay away from my grandchildren. But it's like, okay, what was he trying to do to her grandchildren? Can someone explain it for the audience, please? We're here. We're witnessing the conversation, and we don't know what's actually happening. Sabetti is also pointing out Sister Andrea talking to Christian psychiatrist. That was very cute. And this is what I was saying, that I love things like that when shows put people together who might not normally talk, but they're all like, there. Promethean actually makes a point, though, in saying, I feel like Cheryl and David don't know each other that well. So it was a little weird seeing her at the party.
Yes.
I feel like it was weird, but also, how often
with the kids.
Exactly. But she's with the kids, right? But the funny thing is, how often is David even engage with the kids? Like, if it was, she could have said, she could have told her mom, you take care of the kids tonight, I'm going to David's party, but she brought them too. So I think there's maybe sort of a unspoken sort of thing of them engaging with each other more than we know. Although I do wonder if David ever told Kristen, hey, I saw your mom come out of Leland's apartment one day when I went by there, and she came out with this guy.
He never said that.
And we don't know if he ever told Kristen that.
I don't think he never told Kristen that.
Because seemingly to Kristen, she doesn't seem to think anything weird is going on with her mom. Andy hasn't mentioned anything to her about her mom, like nothing. And it's just like, is no one talking to Kristen about her mom? But yeah, Cheryl did bring it up to the priest, who kind of got switched out with the other priest. I don't know, like, what happened to my boy? He was there for most of the season, and then they switched it back to the other guy.
Oh wait a minute, they brought him back,
right? They did that last time. I was like, where's the other guy? I don't know. Maybe they had to split.
Maybe they sent him to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe it's just that unspoken kind of, they have to switch out depending on who's in the office. But yeah, so she was telling him about it. And yeah, we do have Leland trying to work with our three heroes. And what do you think about that, Mom? What do you think is going to happen with Leland working with them?
Because I think that Leland is trying to get to every demon there is, because that's the way he can get to him. You see how he told, oh no, you're supposed to embrace that. Now he's supposed to be helping the boy. He's telling the boy, you gonna know, you gotta eat it. You gotta eat what you had. And she should have, I felt that Kristen should have stayed. So he wouldn't have it, because the boy started believing everything he was saying.
And that was a little weird with Kristen's choice. And this is probably what Leland wants. He wants to throw them off. He wants to mess with their mission, because clearly, I mean, we see with David's powers, because he clearly has powers of visions, that Leland is worried about him. And Leland is also very much intimidated by Sister Andrea. The actor who plays Leland actually said in a very recent interview when talking about Sister Andrea, where he said that is where Leland is thrown off, because he doesn't know, like, he's intimidated by this woman because of the power that she holds. He actually said this here in a published interview after the season finale came about. So we know he thinks they're very powerful. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a whole thing with Leland wanting to kind of sabotage your stuff. But this is the thing too, like you just said, why did Kristen walk away from the guy? You know, it's like, you left Leland to talk to this dude. You know how Leland is. You left this guy vulnerable to Leland. Why? It didn't make much sense to me, but I also admit that Kristen can be a wild card sometimes, right? It's like her psychiatrist said, maybe you're not completely over your situation with the murder and everything. Maybe you need to deal with that because you're not completely better. You just think you are.
Especially when her daughter said, you smell like a dead person.
Mm-hmm. What did you think that was about?
I said, smell like a dead person. I'm trying to figure out, okay. Because even, you know, and then the only thing that came in my mind is that unless they're talking about who she killed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that came in my mind. But, or either she was down there in that basement and she smelled, and the smell got on her.
Mm-hmm.
Because when she started smelling, so she asked me, do I smell this?
But you know what was so funny is that no one else smelled it but Lexi.
Yeah, but see, I think like you said, Lexi, something's going on with Lexi. Maybe she have a high sense of smell because she tell her mother things like, you smell like this, or what have you done to you? So why you seem different?
Yeah.
When she
so
told
she
you seem
senses
different.
stuff.
Yeah.
But do you think her smelling like a dead body is connected to the case they were on, or do you think Lexi thinking she smelled like a dead body was like Lexi
for who she killed? I think
for who she killed.
Who she killed, and that, you know, in a sense made her think too. Because but like I said, remember when Lexi got the book, opened up the book, and they went to the back, and you saw her thing, like, you know,
mm-hmm.
and I saw the skull. I mean, what other pictures did you see?
It went by kind of quick, so I didn't see.
Yeah, but that's the thing that I saw.
Let us know in the chat, y'all, what other symbols you saw if you got a chance to really look at it.
Yeah, because I saw the skull and I saw her thing, and when she went in the class, I thought she was gonna just. I was telling her, yeah, that's it. You don't do that. Don't do that.
I said that too. I was like, put it down, Kristen.
No, put it down. Don't do that.
When she walked away, I was like, thank you. And then she did it. I was like, no. I was like, don't go.
We went back and got it.
And in a way, I kind of, the thing is about Leland. I like Leland, but I feel like, and maybe it'll change in season 3. I felt like in season 2, he kind of won too much. And let me know what y'all think. I felt like he won a little too much. I felt like he got to have the fake exorcism, although it sort of was real up until the last moment. He got to be put on the team with our heroes. He got the guy to take the eating. He converted Kristen's mom. He basically seemed like he won in a lot of avenues. He cut off the goat's head, all of that. And it's when is Leland gonna get taken down? I love him as a character, but I don't like a villain that's consistently around who seems like they basically just always kind of win. Because then you kind of get mad at the fact that they always win. Because you're like, Kristen, why'd you walk away? Or David, why don't you say something to the priest that this dude is evil or something like that? And that's what we got. So I'm kind of waiting for Leland's downfall, y'all. I don't know. Let us know in the chat. Are you waiting for Leland's downfall? Do you think he's winning a little too much? Zen is saying, I have already felt that Cheryl has a history with demonic worship. She does. She probably does. The question is, when are we gonna get like a sure through line answer about that, right?
Well, she been, like you said, she been dropping hints like, I have dealt with demons before.
Yeah.
It's
just like, when are we gonna know?
Yes, we need to find out about Cheryl.
Yeah. Jaws, thanks for joining us in live chat. Jaws is saying, we all know something ain't right with Lexi. Yes, we do, but she might be the exception, right? She seems like she's sweet. Like, she doesn't seem like she wants to actually hurt anyone or anything like that. So the question is nature versus nurture. Maybe she's able to, to resist certain things, but we don't know because all we get is the dead body smell and things like that. We know she's very receptive to things. So, of what it was. Johns is all saying, I'm sorry, I wanted Kristen to take Leland out. I think that's what I kind of wanted it, but I was like, I don't want that on her. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want that on her hands. And I don't necessarily want Leland dead. See, that's the kind of conflict I'm having. It's like, I think he should get his, I really did love the scene where she was slapping him in the head with with her shoe, because he's like, oh, you're gonna hit me? She was like, yeah, because it makes me feel good. I mean, he had already lied and saying that she had thrown the shoe at him. So
she said, oh, I would do it.
But it was like, yeah, that's great. The thing is, I like Leland as a character. I just think in season 2 they gave him too many wins, and I think you have to make it so that if he's kind of our main villain, he can't win all the time.
Yes,
he can't come out on top all the time. And I feel like, yeah, and I feel like in this season he came out on top or got the upper hand multiple times. And that was a little too much for me. Zen is saying, I'm annoyed that Cheryl is helping Leland subvert her own daughter's work. That too, like Cheryl was like, I'm sure they'll be fine together.
That too.
And this is the question. It's like Cheryl pointed out that her family means everything to her. So why is it that you're okay with Leland basically trying to drive your daughter crazy?
Yes.
Like, what's going on there? Or, I mean, maybe this is the thing. This is why we need a conversation with her to find out why maybe she thinks she's doing this for Kristen's betterment. Maybe in some weird, twisted way, she thinks this is good for her, you know? John's is saying, I'm late, but did we talk about the bat demon? We did talk about the bat demon.
Yes, it looked like an egg.
We were pointing out that we thought it was one of the best moments of the episode in terms of the horror factor and licking of Andrea. I mean, this thing was, where are we going to see this thing again?
Oh, when that tongue came out, I said, oh my God.
It was good. It was good horror.
Now, see, that's why I said it was an A-, but that part was good.
It was really good.
And when she grabbed his foot, I said, oh my God, she grabbed him.
Do you think that bat demon was a personification of that dead body that had the sigil on it? Do you think that was like that?
Remember, he was saying something to her. Mm-hmm. Remember, he was saying something to her while she was saying, he was speaking in Latin or whatever. And remember, she kept trying to remember that and everything. Yeah. Her hand, that's when she, he kept repeating those words over again.
She wrote it down.
And she wrote it,
Yeah, I think the bat demon was a not personification, because I think, that dead body that was there was clearly the demon.
Yeah.
Because it needed that guy to consume him to take the air. But I think the bat demon was like the real version of that demon. Mm-hmm. I think that's what that was.
I think that's what it was too.
And it's very interesting that Sister Andrea was telling that demon, you can't have David. You can't have him. He's going to do better, type thing. And we're going to talk about David's situation. Josh saying, but yes, she still helps Leland. It's so confusing. Kind of why I don't like Cheryl. Cheryl she's a confusion for me.
Remember she said she loved her daughter. You're hurting your daughter.
Yeah, and the question is, why is she why would she do that? And Sabati is saying that demon reminded me of Midnight Mass. Yes, no spoilers, won't say, but
I gotta see that then.
And if you have seen, thank you for that segue, Sabati. If you have seen Midnight Mass, myself and my partner Michael, we are having a Midnight Mass spoiler talk discussion tomorrow, and we're going to deep dive into horror, religion, and all that good stuff that it was dealing with. So if you're around for that, or once you finish watching Midnight Mass, you can watch the replays, but we're going to be diving into that tomorrow for those who are interested. Jaws is saying, I need more stuff like that. And I love how it was too much even for David, and he's a believer for those things, considering the other episode with the black preacher. Exactly. And let's talk about that. That's a great segue. And if y'all haven't already, please do give this video a like. It's always appreciated. Feed the algorithm monster. And if you want to show some super chat love, that is also always appreciated as we dive into this. So let's talk about David, because, I had been mentioning how David kind of was like in the background for a bit in some of the episodes. And I think they might have kept him in the background because of where they were leading with him right now. And it was powerful in its own way. the thing is, him going into priesthood didn't mean that he was going to be perfect. And I think he's acknowledged that. I think that's acknowledged. It was interesting because it was almost like Sister Andrea. It was, even though it's him going into the priesthood, I felt like it was kind of like if you watch superhero shows and stuff or movies, you know, it's kind of like David was getting the speech that a superhero gets when they get their powers or something and they don't really want them or something. And it's just like, no, I know it's going to be tough, but you need it. And David's just kind of like, no, because when he got told that his visions could start to hurt him, he was like, wait a minute. He's like, I didn't sign up for that. He was like, I did not sign up for that. I did not sign up for my visions to eventually start hurting me. Like, nah. But one, I love that. I love that kind of turn of events with his visions, because we all were, you know, in previous live stream, there was the debate, because this show can be so vague, where some of us started to question if David really had visions or not, or maybe it was hallucinations. But now we know he definitely has visions. So that puts the line in the sand about David and his foresight, his powers, which is great. I love that for David. What I didn't love for David was him kissing Kristen and them beginning to make out.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, lady, I'll let you talk about it first, and then I'll give my viewpoint on it. What did you think about it
first?
Okay, go ahead.
I did not approve of that. I mean, okay, I wanted her. Okay, she confessed. I understood that. And I said, okay, she confessed, she broke down, and he said that he exempt her from the. I said, how can you exempt somebody from a murder? That's gonna still be with her, but I guess God did exempt her or whatever, and she was forgiven. But then I knew when they did that, when she hugged them, I said, no. Why are y'all going? I said, don't do that. Not right now. I mean, the man they just ordained them. But then you're going to have her. I said, it's going to end up like I knew they was going to try let them kiss. Now, if I could have just put my hand between them, they wouldn't have kissed.
Show them what you were. Yeah, I was gonna say you were doing a thing toward the television, trying to put your pencil in between. Like,
don't do it. What's wrong with you? I said, you know what?
That was a choice for a cliffhanger. It definitely was.
Yeah, because now we gotta be thinking: are they really gonna let him go through this, or is it at that moment, at that time, you bring it back?
Somebody saying David pieced out when he was told the visions were real. Yeah. Saying that was stupid in terms of the kiss. Felix is saying the kiss grossed me out. Joss is saying the drama, but my little ship heart for them screamed. I'm a mixed bag with this, Ma. I kind of saw it coming. Not at first though.
Okay.
When Kristen confessed, I thought that was a really powerful moment for them.
Yeah.
That was such an intense scene. And the actors in this show are just phenomenal. And that was just such an intense scene. And I thought maybe they'd have a hug or something, and it would kind of be like, just really intense. But of course, it's a season finale. They're gonna have to end on that a little bit more. It was weird. It was kind of interesting. But when Kristen paused and she opened her eyes and they kissed, I saw that coming when she paused. I was like, why is she pausing? Is she about to get a vision or something? But then they kissed, and even as they were doing, I was like, no. I was like, no, don't do it now, because as Jaws is pointing out, I do in some form ship them. I think their characters would be really great for each other once they both get better. And when David leaves the priesthood on his own accord, and Kristen deals with her being not happy in her marriage and stuff like that, I think they'd be really great together. And they got wonderful chemistry. I agree with that. It's like when your ship is good, but you're like, this is the wrong time. And you're kind of almost worried that since they're going to start the ship now, they may ruin it. And that's my worry about that. If they start having some sort of affair, like if, David's making out with her on the side and he's still trying to be a priest or so on and so forth, it kind of spoils and taints what could really be a great ship for them when they get better. I get it. It's a will they, won't they? And I don't think they necessarily answered it. I don't see them having a full blown out affair. I think maybe they'll kiss and stuff, and then it'll be a thing of them avoiding each other and things like that, especially with David having known that she committed murder. And like, although he did the whole thing of you're forgiven, it was like, whoa, that's still a thing. I know they had to do it, and I wanted a cliffhanger because, yeah, you want this show to go out with a bang for a season, but I was like, not this, because I'm like, you're gonna ruin this ship, and this is a good ship. You don't need to make them kiss right now because they're both in really crappy positions. David's still contending with the fact that he's like some Catholic superhero, like he's literally having visions that can hurt him, and he's one of the people there to help save the world, and that's a big weight on his shoulder. And then Kristen is Kristen. We've seen what's going on with Kristen. Kristen's got a lot of mess going on, including with her mama, and I just thought, this is not the best time for this situation. True. So I couldn't be happy about it, even though I do ship it to a certain degree. I was like, I can't be happy about this because this is just going to be bad for both of them. And I don't want that to tank the ship, But I trust the writers too. I trust the showrunners that they have an idea where this is going. I just didn't think they'd go through with it, especially when he got ordained. I knew, like, I called it, y'all. I was right. I said he was going to go through with being ordained. I said he's going to get ordained. I just think in 2 seasons, he's going to leave the priesthood. I gave it about 2 seasons, but I said he was going to go through with it. I just thought we'd get a little bit longer before they acted on their.
Yeah, they had this lesson word part where they were looking at each other and then they went off.
Yeah. Like that conversation they had last episode where it was like, do you think we'd be in love, Vivian? That was beautiful. I was like, that's great. Yeah. Leave it right there.
Leave it right there. No, you had to make it. But wait a minute. Was that beer he was drinking or was that
a it's beer? You can drink if you're Catholic. You don't have to. I mean, you got to be celibate as a priest, but you don't got to be without alcohol. So they can drink. They drink wine every Sunday. So
look at they drinking beer.
Yeah, they can do that. Sister Andrea had a beer in her hand at the party. They can drink. So Betty is saying, I agree with your mom. It's just too messy. Yes. Zen is saying David has to be stronger than this last episode shows him. He's going to be going head to head with demons. Exactly.
Yes,
and this might be the sacrifice. This might be the sacrifice, right, y'all? And that's something. It's intense. And it's great drama, right? I mean, it's good writing. I don't want everything to be happy golden, like sunshine and rainbows, but I was just like, not this. Let it be any other kind of cliffhanger, but not right now.
Or even had something with Ben too in it. I mean, or even had Ben going to his house and his girlfriend waiting there for him.
Well, that wouldn't have been a real cliffhanger though, unless she like killed him or something. That would have been a cliffhanger.
If he was there and then he go. And like she go, oh well, here go my sister, and then
But is that a cliffhanger for like everything that had built up with the show? Because let's be real, I love Ben, but that whole thing with his girlfriend is more of a C plot.
It would have been like 2 things, like another plot. If they would have deal with Christian and them later, but Ben would have been in there somehow with his cliffhanger.
Okay,
and we're trying to see.
So you saying still with them kissing?
Huh?
Still with them kissing, but then going to bed.
Yes, but at least it would have been 2 things that we worry about. Oh, we finally get the answer to Ben, and we finally get to see this, but we didn't really want it. But
let's see what some of y'all are saying in chat. John's is saying, honestly, the way this show writes, they'll just leave it at just the kiss and not really talk about it until later season.
True.
No,
I'm hoping.
I do think because they are such they are the prominent ship of this show that they will address it. Okay, let me know in the chat and also in the replay, y'all. Do you think we'll come back next season and they would have slept together? Or do you think it would just be a kiss? Not with what you're feeling, what you think the writers will do.
Well, I believe
not what you want, but what you think the writers will have them do.
I think the writers gonna play it like this. I feel that they're gonna leave it at the kiss because David just listened to her confess. So I think they're gonna kiss, and then they're gonna realize she's gonna realize what they did. They're gonna break it off, but they're just gonna leave the kiss there between them. Mm-hmm. And how they felt because they was feeling at that moment. So right there, they're gonna come back with that. I don't think they're gonna father that kiss. I hope not. Just leave it like that and don't say nothing about it because in a way, she was confessing to him. He's not supposed to mention nothing or anything. So I think that kiss is that too. So no, it don't count.
What happens in confession stays in
Uh-huh.
confession.
So you kiss me, I don't tell nothing, you don't tell nothing.
Okay.
Because when she said you take confession, he said, yeah, so I believe that kiss was a confession.
So a lot of mental gymnastics you did to just say that. Like, you're like, no, they're not doing anything else. That's it. Jaws is saying, and then have them together. I think they just wanted to solidify their feelings for them and the audience. Zen is making the bid that it's going to be kiss only. Jaws is also saying just the kiss because they both act in their impulses, but also have restraint too.
Yes.
I also think it'll be just the kiss, unless they have them wake up the next morning together. That's the only way. If we start season 3, with the episode of them waking up in bed together, because you remember the visions. If y'all remember, there were visions that David had, and I think Kristen too, of him laying on top of Kristen in his bed.
No, she was laying on top of him.
No, the vision was his back. I remember it was very distinctive. Yeah, it was a very distinctive picture. Definitely, I remembered it. It was his back and him on top of her, and her looking up at the sky. And that was one. I don't know if it was his vision or something she had saw, but it was there. So that's the only way. If I thought that they were going to try to make it come full circle of what he had seen. We also remember that David had a vision of maggots and him covered in blood and things like that. The question is, are any of these more drastic visions of him going to come to fruition, or are they just shadows, you know? And that's the only way I would think that they might have them go through and sleep together, if they want to connect it to some of his visions or to the visions that we've seen of them together. Then again, they had a vision of him in the shower with Renee Elise Goldsberry character and Kristen. So he could just be having visions. He could just the question is, what is his lust and what is his vision when it comes to Kristen? We don't know, except that time when she was in the field going towards the goat man. But I think if they wanted to play it safe and they didn't want to completely taint this ship, I think they'll have them not sleep together yet. I feel like they'll wait for the sleeping together when, you know, David's not in the priesthood anymore. Kristen's at a better place mentally. He's in a better place in his position of the kind of role he wants to play with the Lord and his mission. And then they'll have them sleep together. That's if they don't, if they see it like we do as shippers, or people who are shippers, because my mom doesn't ship this, but like those of us who are shippers, to not want to taint the milestones they could have as a relationship. And if it all happens, if they go that far under a tainted situation, I just don't think it's going to be good for them. John's saying he had sexual visions throughout this whole episode. The last one was definitely a Kristen and him in the shower. It was. I think Renee Elise Goldsberry character was in the shower there too, though. He was having a 3-way in those visions. It was weird. But it also, as someone who is, as him, I should say, not me, as someone who is a sex addict as he is, it kind of makes sense that he'd have that, especially when he's going to make a decision that will stop him from ever being able to do that again, if he was to.
He's ordained. Isn't he now a priest?
He is now.
Okay.
He is. Zen is saying he needs to be in therapy. He does. Maybe they'll all go to the psychiatrist and he'll definitely be like, I need a break. But yeah, I like the fact that they had David go through with the ordainment. I thought it would take a little bit longer before he was really presented with the temptation and gave in on it. You know, it was like, it was the day of his ordainment, right? Y'all, like, he got ordained that day and he gave in to making out with Kristen. It's like,
he was drinking a beer.
Could we well, he can drink, Ma. It's totally
I know,
okay
I understand it, but you're drinking a beer, man. Somebody come and say they want to confess. And yeah, you probably have more than one beer.
Maybe. I mean, it's just that, you know, I feel the question is he's going to have to try to answer for himself if he can do the work he wants to do and not be a priest. And that's the question that he might have to answer in the upcoming season, because I don't know. It's a lot. And it's like, it's the day of and you already gave in. I thought it was going to at least happen like mid-season 3, not the same night. That was just weird. But I also get David's pain or his conundrum, right? It's like, consider, like, I think I talked about this last live stream, like if you were Jesus, right? And like you're a carpenter, you're living your best life, you're in great shape, you're in your mid-30s doing the darn thing, and then someone comes to you and saying you're the son of God and you're going to die crucified. Like, but it's going to be really good because you're going to come back to life. But for the next couple of years, it's going to be real rough, And one could argue we don't see it in the Bible, but I'm sure, in realistic times, like, one would wonder if Jesus had completely been okay with it at first, or would have been like,
in the Bible, they do go through what he was feeling too.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, really? Like, that's what I got to do? And I kind of understand that from David's perspective, hearing from Sister Andrea that your visions are going to start hurting you, and you are literally one of the leaders of the battle of good and evil for the soul of this. I mean, that's a lot to take on, and so I think he's going to have to address that for himself. And maybe it might take a visit from his dead wife, his dead fiance or something. Maybe that'll help him. Maybe she needs to speak to him or something. I don't know. But we do know that just because he's ordained, he's not out of the water yet. That's for sure. So Betty is saying they can drink, but they should not overindulge. Yes, with the drinking, with the alcohol.
But that part, did they really explain how David, she was his wife, died?
I think it was a disease or something. I think she had a disease and she got sicker. And I think there was this question of her guilt that she was a burden to them and stuff as she got sick. Stuff like that. My understanding is that she died naturally. It was like a natural thing. Not naturally, but it was like a sickness.
She said, make sure you do it for yourself, David, not for my sister.
Yeah, because David, Zen is saying it was the C word. I don't like saying the C word. I've lost people to it, so I don't like saying it. But yeah, so yeah, she got sick. And so I mean, I think okay, so Zen is saying she actually killed herself because of yeah. I think Leland actually talks about that in one episode where he said he was the one that pushed her to it. Like he actually visited her and like said something to her about
a bitch or something like that. Yeah, your little bitch did something.
Yeah, and like he actually told I think Leland told David that he actually visited his wife and explained to her that she was a burden or something that kind of pushed her over the edge. So Leland has definitely been messing with David for some time. And this is why I say Leland's got to get his, because I felt like he was winning too much this season for everything he's done.
Me too.
And so I'm excited to see season 3. So, okay, as we close this out, lady, what are your hopes for season 3? Let me know in the chat and also on the replay. What are your hopes for season 3, y'all? Lady, tell me what's your wish list?
Okay, my wish list is that they keep Kristen and David apart for a while.
Right after they get
that's my first.
Just stay away from each other.
Yeah, just stay away from David. Second one would be that Christian find out about her mother and Alexis. Mm-hmm. And the third one would be all together what they all will find out about the 60 demons. That's all together. I want them to really bring that all together with that too. Mm-hmm. That's my 3 things. And the fourth thing is Leland do get his. He can't win all the time. It's like he's been winning all through this whole second season.
Mm-hmm. He's always ended up with the upper hand. He gets beat up and stuff. He still comes out on top.
Yeah, and then I'm like, damn, you just hit him. You didn't hit him with the heel part. You just slapped him with the other part. Mm-hmm. I thought I was gonna see blood.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought she was gonna accidentally kill him or something. I was like, season finale. Promethean is saying, I hope we actually get to see David's fiance. They talk about her, but we never see her. Exactly. I think that would be good too, to see her, and like the effect. She clearly had a really impactful, effect on David, and especially with what he told her sister of, I'm doing it for both of us. And, she even said, she was like, no, do it for you, not for my sister, do it for you, because this is a hard journey. And it definitely is. And we're seeing that right off the bat. For myself, I hope we just get more specific answers, y'all. I just think certain things. I want to know Cheryl's inner workings. We watched a lot of her doing stuff. We haven't seen enough of her saying why she's doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're at a point where they need to show the cards
here. They really do.
I want Cheryl and Kristen to actually have a conversation, even if it's nothing to like resolve anything, just for Kristen to kind of get a whiff that maybe something's going on with her mama. You know what I mean? I want that.
It takes her husband that long to close down a business?
Well, they always make him go away for a couple of weeks at a time.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be closing down the business and coming back.
Yeah, but it's only been a few days.
Your husband got something going too.
Okay, you gave your wish list. I'm giving mine. So, you know, Kristen dealing with her baggage, you know, dealing with the fact that maybe she's just not happy with Andy and stuff, and not just a simple fact of she's stressed or something like that. And, you know, a little bit more, you know, more missions too. I love when they go on missions and they find stuff out and things like that. So I want more of that. And I want Leland kind of getting what's coming to him. I want the scales more balanced with them, because I don't think the scale is as balanced as it could be. And I don't know why they're doing it that way, but I think they can balance the scales a bit more with them. Zen is saying, I want David to honor the vows he made. I want Kristen to find out about Cheryl's betrayal and demon worship. Zen, I want Ben to get his girlfriend help from Kristen's therapist. Yes. Josh is saying, I want more answers too, more drama, and of course, more actual supernatural elements in Christian's divorce era. Yes. I want to see Kristen single and kind of dealing with that and what that means and stuff like that, because I just don't think her marriage is long for this world in the sense of more seasons. And I hope they don't keep dragging it out, because it's very clear maybe the kiss with David is going to be the nail in the coffin for her to say, I need to separate from my guy. You know, maybe that'll be what that does, if nothing else. But yeah, that's overall the wish list. But overall, I would give this season an A overall. Maybe an A- this whole season. Season 1 to me was A+. It was chef's kiss, season 1. This one is a little bit less, just because I felt like they introduced a lot of things and they didn't follow through with all those things like they did with season 1. So it's definitely an maybe a B+ for me this season. What grade would you give this overall season, lady?
A-.
A-.
Because like I said, this season, like I said, been good, it's been bad, but the last, you know, like I said, kept me. The last part was good, and with the demons popping up and the way they do things, that had me on edges too.
Yeah. Zen is saying, I don't want Kristen to get a divorce. It seems like Zen ships Andy and Kristen, so that's cool too. We accept all shippers here. Zavetti is saying, I don't know what to expect for season 3. Season 2 gave major X-File vibes where the answers are spread over many seasons. And that may be what we might need to, I don't want to say lower our expectations, but we may need to temper our expectations to say, just expect that you won't get answers about some of the things that are introduced in the same season. So there's that. Josh is saying, this season was a step up for season 1 for me. Zen is saying, the season has been an A-. And John saying, although I do missions, I want more missions. I love when their missions connect to other stuff, you know. Denny in the chat. Hi, Denny. Denny is saying, didn't even realize you were doing Evil reviews. I'll have to watch after I catch up, but glad to see you covering the show. Thanks, Denny. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I'm trying to, you know, I'm kind of focusing with this channel on doing more like live streams, because I love talking with you all about these things. So it's like longer form and like deep dives into the movies, as opposed to just like a quick snippet quick snippet review type stuff. So it's been a journey, and I'm enjoying it. But yeah, overall it was solid. I'm looking forward to season 3. And like we were told from Robert King on Twitter, is that they will start filming season 3 in November. So hopefully we won't have to wait too long for some of these more questions or more answers. Who knows? But thank you all for joining this journey with us. It has been so much fun. I'm going to try to persuade my lady here to do another show with me while we wait for Evil season 3 to come on. Y'all, I'm thinking about doing the Invasion series, the Alien series that's coming on Apple TV at the end of October. So I'm thinking about doing that. And I want to know, are y'all watching La Brea, that show? It's a little weird. but
that's one.
that comes on NBC, so I
yeah,
might
that's
watch
on
that.
tonight. It should be.
Yeah, it's tonight, but I don't watch it live. I watch it the next day. But
Yeah, well, your
let me
father should be
know.
watching
I'll
it
put up a
tonight.
poll. Okay, I'll put up a poll to let y'all to ask some questions in terms of what shows y'all are going to be, what shows y'all are watching. The new Chucky series comes out tonight. The Invasion series is later this month. We of course have La Brea, and I want to know what y'all are interested in having conversations about. Live streams about, because of course I don't want to just be here and y'all aren't here with me. So it's always great to have these the tit for tats with all of you. And John's saying, I haven't watched La Brea yet. Is it good? It's so bad it's good. That's what it is. It's so. Have you ever seen The Land Before Time? It's so bad it's good. And that's the kind of
especially with the animals. Now the animals get to me. I said, whoa.
Yeah, I think it's bad CGI if I'm being honest, but I'm curious.
You gotta look at it. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm gonna try to look at it.
So yeah, y'all, check out my community tab. Check out the community tab, because I'm going to put a poll, and you can do some write-ins, like what upcoming shows are you going to be watching that you might want me to cover, do some weekly live streams on. And I am still doing American Horror Story season 10 if you all are watching. And right after this, I will be doing Why the Last Man, episode 6 and 7. If you've been watching that, I'm going to do a quick kind of spoiler discussion about that if you've been watching Why the Last Man. But yeah, until next time, y'all, thank you so much. This has been so fun doing this season with you all of Evil. I thought we were going to see George again too. We didn't see George. We didn't see George.
So was that George they were saying in reference to, or did somebody really pass away?
Oh no, that wasn't the George of this. That I'm talking about George, the character, the demon.
Yeah, I know, but I was
George Rayner. Yeah, he was a Teamster who worked in the production side who passed away during production. So that was the show. The episode was dedicated to him. Wasn't any of the actors, but it was someone on production, which is super, super, just as if not more so in some cases, very important for bringing us all these shows that we all love. So, but yeah, until next time, y'all, thank you so much for joining us. Let me know your theories and thoughts if you want to give some longer theories in the comment section for next season. I'm down to hear it. And until then, be blessed this week and stay safe. Okay. Don't do any evil. Don't be Cheryl. Be David. Well, don't be David. Be Ben.
No, don't be David.
Ben is probably the better one out of all of them in terms of
he is. He don't believe in nothing. He just said he feared everything he can find out about.
Yeah. Thank you all. Okay, everybody.